Now, Labour and the Liberal Democrats have set out joint plans for a royal charter to regulate the press, while David Cameron published his own rival proposal. The Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg, said the version he'd drawn up with Ed Miliband would preserve press freedom while giving victims of press intrusion the protection they need. Our political correspondent, Michael Crick, is in Westminster. Michael.
Well, this weekend, Christian, MPs have to decide between two rival royal charters. This one, the Tory Royal Charter, this one, the Labour Liberal Democrat Royal Charter. Now, in their wording, they're very, very similar, apart from in some small but important respects, very legalistic respects. Also, the Tory Royal Charter would not require any new laws, would just be passed by the Privy Council. The Labour Liberal Democrat Royal Charter would be passed by the Royal Council, but would also require one or two new laws. But more important, perhaps, than these two royal charters is the serious split tonight within the coalition. The Liberal Democrats having deserted their Conservative partners and on this issue coalescing with Labour. 72 hours before Monday's big vote, Labour and the Lib Dems say their charter would help victims of intrusion in three specific ways they claim the Cameron plan lacks.
I think what's important about our proposals is they guarantee that the regulator will be independent of the press, so it's not the press's business to decide whether a wrong has been done. Secondly, it's a regulator with teeth. That means they can ensure that if a wrong has been committed, something can be done about it, including a prominent apology, for example, to the victim. And thirdly, it's a system that will endure, so it can't be messed around with either by ministers or the press on a whim.
I believe in the freedom of the press just as much as everybody else, but striking the right balance between freedom of the press on the one hand and the right of the Dowlers, the McCanns and others to be protected from unwarranted intrusion and bullying by the press.
David Cameron, who was in Brussels today, is against any press regulation by Parliament. The Labour Lib Dem charter won't work, he thinks, but everyone must act soon.
What I think we can't go on with is a situation where the victims and the public don't know what sort of press regulation we're going to have. That needs to change. We can't go on with a situation where, bill after bill of the government's legislative programme is potentially hijacked or contaminated with motions and amendments that are about something completely different.
Hacked Off, the group which includes Gerry McCann, whose daughter went missing in Portugal, thinks the Labour Lib Dem plans will now do pretty much what Lord Leveson wanted.
Lord Leveson was absolutely clear in his report that underpinning by statute was essential, not desirable. I think it's slightly archaic to use a royal charter, but if we do use it and it is robust, then I think that's okay, but I'm not quite sure why we've gone down a royal charter route in the first place.
Now, the interesting question, of course, about all this is why was it that until yesterday we thought there was going to be a three-way deal on this? Labour and the Lib Dems say then suddenly the Conservatives walked out of the talks. But now the Conservatives are saying, in fact, what happened is that Labour suddenly hardened their position because they were being pushed around, say the Conservatives, by the campaign group Hacked Off. And today, a press release has emerged, a draft press release has emerged that Hacked Off distributed on Tuesday but didn't actually release, in which they were going to accuse Labour and the Lib Dems of a dirty deal behind closed doors with newspaper proprietors and saying that Harriet Harman, Nick Clegg and Ed Miliband should be ashamed of themselves. Labour and the Lib Dems say that was nothing to do with what happened, that their safeguards are something they wanted all along.